The pristine, polished exterior of the British royal family is facing a brutal, high-stakes collision of global politics and bitter family drama as June of 2026 ends. Official state cables and tense whispers from top-tier staffers deep inside the household division have finally confirmed the upcoming royal collision. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have locked in their official flight plans for a dramatic return to the United Kingdom this July of 2026, bringing along their 2 children. 7-year-old Archie and 5-year-old Lilibet will join them, marking the very first time the entire Sussex family has set foot on British soil since the Platinum Jubilee back in 2022. On paper, the California couple is framing this entire journey across the ocean as a crucial high-stakes promotional tour to kick off the countdown for the 2027 Invictus Games, a massive international event for wounded veterans set to take place in the industrial city of Birmingham. While their high-priced public relations team in Montecito spins this as just another routine charitable trip for a dedicated royal patron, experienced royal insiders and sharp palace strategists watching from the shadows see a much colder, highly calculated chess move at play. This transatlantic trip is not some simple charity run. It is a highly calculated play to test the waters, claw their way back into the British public eye, and see if the damaged Sussex brand still has any real value left. But the brutal reality waiting for Harry and Meghan on the tarmac is entirely empty of royal fanfares, official welcomes, or any family warmth. The moment those flight details were locked in, the Prince of Wales made his move. Prince William immediately authorised a brutal containment plan, a complete shutdown designed to freeze out his brother and stop any slick Montecito PR stunts right in their tracks. William handed down a strict top-down order to his entire household staff, making sure not a single royal car security detail or working family member is allowed to validate their arrival or give their California brand any official crown approval. To make this cold-shouldering absolute, the palace has carefully synchronised the official court calendar, ensuring every major working royal is booked solid with non-negotiable events in far-off corners of the country on the exact days the Sussexes are in town. The cold, unyielding machinery of the crown is moving with cold efficiency to make absolutely sure Harry and Meghan do not get a single photo with senior royals, completely killing off any hope of a warm red carpet welcome. The bitter silent feud between the brothers has hit an all-time low after a desperate, failed attempt by Harry to open up a direct line of communication with his older brother, the heir. Reliable palace sources confirm that when Harry tried to coordinate his visit through King Charles III's staff, the King's personal office immediately forwarded the entire awkward conversation straight to Prince William's team at Kensington Palace. Desperate to cut through the red tape, Harry started blowing up William's phone, directly sending personal letters and making repeated calls right to his brother. He begged for a quiet face-to-face meeting, hoping to spark a public reconciliation, or at least agree on a basic truce while they are in the country. William answered with a cold, absolute and total silence. The future king refused to even acknowledge his younger brother's letters, ducked his direct calls and told his personal secretaries to make it crystal clear that any peace talks from Harry are dead on arrival. This icy snub is far more than just a bitter brotherly grudge. It is a deliberate protective shield around the crown itself. For those watching the global media circus, this raw standoff highlights the painful clash between family blood and royal duty. While royal fans and critics argue endlessly over who is right and who is wrong, a deeper look shows a harsh reality if Harry feels a fierce personal duty to stand up for Meghan Markle's freedom and safety. William has a much more sacred, completely non-negotiable duty to keep an iron wall of protection around his vulnerable wife Catherine and their young daughter, Princess Charlotte. This sudden icy hardening of William's stance comes straight from those explosive media leaks and tell-alls engineered by the Sussex camp. Secrets that the Prince of Wales feels completely shattered their family trust and put his household's safety at risk. Insiders confirm that the current strict zero-tolerance policy run out of Kensington Palace is because private family moments were repeatedly sold off and weaponised for commercial profit, taking direct public aim at Catherine's mental health, while she was at her absolute weakest. Now the future king's entire palace machinery has been turned into a permanent, impenetrable shield, making absolutely sure Harry's upcoming July visit stays completely contained to the city of Birmingham and the private grounds of his mother's Spencer family estate, kept miles away from the working palace and the private sacred sanctuaries of the actual royal family. This calculated total freeze-out engineered by Prince William is enforced by a strict palace-wide separation order that controls the entire royal calendar for the month of July, while Prince Harry and Meghan Markle pack their bags for London. The core working members of the monarchy have carefully synced up their official calendars to build an impenetrable wall of total silence. By deliberately scattering senior working royals to far-flung corners of the country, the family is delivering a brutal, silent rejection, killing any hope of a sweet, camera-ready family reunion. Leading this quiet defensive stand is William himself, whose packed schedule has been meticulously calculated to completely blot out and avoid any possible contact or crossover with his estranged younger brother. On the very day Harry steps out to open the Invictus countdown in the heart of Birmingham. Leading up to July 10th, the Prince of Wales has locked his entire calendar onto his big yearly charity polo match. This major public event on his schedule, which always takes place in the home counties, makes absolutely sure the future king is kept completely separate and far away from any awkward run-ins with the Sussex group. Putting his charity work and public duties ahead of tense family talks is a clear signal Prince William is showing he is a leader focused on the crown. That wall of separation gets even higher because the Princess of Wales, Catherine, has completely pulled back from public view on anything to do with Harry and Meghan, as she slowly starts doing royal duties again after dealing with some very serious health issues. Kensington Palace has set up a massive ultra-protective shield all around the Princess of Wales. Royal insiders say her office has flat out refused to take part in any meetings briefings, or any private letters about her brother-in-law coming back to town. They are absolutely refusing to let her be used as a convenient peace offering or a media distraction. Her health, her public role, and her 3 kids are the only things that get her energy. At the exact same time, Queen Camilla is standing shoulder to shoulder with Prince William's tough defence. Sources deep inside the palace leak that the Queen Consort has some incredibly major doubts about Meghan Markle coming back, calling the choice to bring the Duchess of Sussex back onto British soil during this fragile transition time something that is totally unworkable and completely counterproductive. Camilla has always felt that any talks with the California side of the family are a massive risk, especially after they spent years leaking private details directly to the media. Because of this, the Queen's official calendar for July has been packed to make sure she stays busy with state duties, alongside King Charles III at Clarence House, far away from any secret or public meetings with the visiting Sussex family. The royal wall is complete with other top-tier family members making themselves scarce, like the Princess Royal Princess Anne and the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh. The entire palace machinery has made a firm decision to counter the heavy Sussex media blitz with a very unified display of business as usual. Every high-ranking royal has been sent away on important local trips far from where Harry and Meghan will be making sure there are absolutely no joint photos, official cars or military salutes to back them up. This highly calculated calendar moves fast to crush any rumours of a warm family reunion, sending a very clear message to global watchers that being part of the royal family requires a lifetime of hard work and total loyalty to the crown. To really understand why Prince William has built such a massive wall, you have to look at the massive media leaks coming from Harry and Meghan. The Prince of Wales sees these stunts as a complete betrayal of trust and personal family safety. Looking back at how this family feud started, the current cold shoulder from Kensington Palace is not just petty behaviour, It is a direct reaction to times when deeply personal family moments were packaged and sold to the public. For William, the cheap move to leak private family talks was done to drag down the reputation of the royal family. Even worse, it deliberately targeted Catherine's mental peace when she was already feeling very vulnerable. One major point of anger that still drives Prince William's hard stance is the public leaking of that petty make-up drama right before the Royal Foundation Forum back in 2018. In his tell-all book, Prince Harry chose to write about a highly private backstage moment where Meghan Markle asked to borrow a tube of personal lip gloss from Catherine. The book goes on to say that Catherine was completely taken aback by the sudden request, showing a bit of hesitation before pulling the makeup out of her purse, and then visibly cringing when Meghan put the makeup on with her fingers. By spinning this tiny private moment about hygiene into a public drama of coldness and a complete lack of sisterly support, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex proved they were happy to use normal private family moments to hurt the future Queen's public image. This bad habit of treating private family visits as content for big media paydays got a lot worse when they released their global documentary series for the world to watch. In that show, Meghan Markle chose to talk about the very first casual dinner she hosted at her own home for Prince William and Catherine. The Duchess pointed out that she was wearing ripped jeans and was barefoot when she opened the door to welcome them inside, stepping forward to give a big unexpected hug to both William and Catherine. Later in her on-camera interview, she used this very moment to attack the formal culture of the royal household, saying she quickly saw that the rigid rules and stiff boundaries royals show in public do not drop even when they are behind closed doors. Sharing the details of that private dinner felt like a cheap shot to Prince William and his top advisors, a deliberate effort to make fun of Catherine's dignified behaviour, painting her respect for traditional British manners as proof that she was cold, stiff and deeply arrogant. By holding up her own easygoing American style next to Catherine's refined royal manners, Meghan Markle tried to gain global sympathy while quietly taking digs at the woman who will one day be Queen. For William, this nasty twisting of his wife's respect for personal space and British tradition crossed a very clear line, showing him that any private kindness shown to the California royals would just end up being sold as trashy television entertainment. All these calculated disclosures have piled up, completely changing the tense way Kensington Palace manages the presence of Prince Harry. The Prince of Wales operates on a single strict rule protecting his wife and children from further emotional pain comes far before any duty to his estranged brother. That relentless, cruel mocking of Catherine across global media projects has convinced the future king that the House of Sussex holds a deep, active hostility toward the basic privacy and dignity that keep the modern crown standing. Because of this, the ugly history of these public media operations is the main excuse for the absolute silence, the frozen schedules and the total royal isolation that will completely engulf the Duke and Duchess of Sussex when they land back in Britain in July of 2026. The messy, unsettled plans about where to actually put the Duke and Duchess of Sussex have made their upcoming trip to the United Kingdom incredibly complicated and tense. Inside the incredibly strict and watched world of the British state, figuring out exactly where a famous family needing top-tier security can stay for a casual, non-official visit has turned into a massive administrative headache. Early hopeful rumours had wrongly suggested that the massive residential space inside Buckingham Palace would be used to put up Prince Harry, Meghan Markle and their 2 young children. But that idea has been totally crushed by major structural and financial shifts that the British monarchy has recently written into its official formal rules. According to the official, incredibly detailed royal financial report put out by palace officials, King Charles III and Queen Camilla have made a massive historic decision about their permanent. The sovereign and the Queen consort have confirmed they are not moving into Buckingham Palace, even after the massive multi-year renovation project wraps up a job that cost a whopping £369 million. Instead, the king has chosen to keep living at Clarence House. which has served as his main home since 2003, keeping it as his primary private haven for the rest of his time on the throne. This huge change completely redefines Buckingham Palace. Turning it from a traditional royal family home into a busy administrative headquarters meant only for massive state banquets, foreign diplomatic meetings, high-stakes summits, and regular public tours. While the king still keeps a small suite of private rooms for quick rests between his daily royal duties or rare overnight stays during busy weeks, the historic building simply does not have the basic living setup needed to safely or comfortably house the visiting Sussex family. Losing their official spot at Buckingham Palace leaves the royal household facing a massive security nightmare. Automatic taxpayer-funded police protection is no longer guaranteed to family members who willingly walked away from their official royal duties. Since top-tier royal security is no longer an automatic right, finding an absolutely bulletproof safe home for Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, little Archie and Lilibet has forced them to weigh some very specific locations. One real option still on the table involves letting them stay in a very quiet, heavily guarded cottage tucked deep inside the highly secure Windsor estate. This choice gives them a pre-made security setup that is already completely shut off from the general public, offering a calm wooded escape that keeps them far away from the screaming paparazzi in central London, much like their old private setup at Frogmore Cottage. But a major unexpected twist has suddenly turned everyone's attention toward a completely different and deeply symbolic location. Reporters keeping a close eye on the calendars of famous British estates found that Althorp House, the historic family home and burial site of the late Diana, Princess of Wales, has suddenly, without explanation, announced a total closure to the public. The massive country estate, which is owned and managed by Prince Harry's maternal uncle, Earl Charles Spencer, will be completely locked down and barred from all public access on the exact dates of July 10th and 11th, 2026. This exact timing matches up perfectly with the arrival of the Duke of Sussex, leading royal experts to believe that the Spencer family estate will serve as the main base for the visiting family. Picking Althorp House as their main refuge is a bold, tactical move by Prince Harry to completely sidestep the control of the royal palace handlers. By picking his mother's childhood home, the Duke of Sussex secures a deeply private, heavily guarded space where his young children can really connect with their late grandmother's heritage, entirely free from the strict rules of the current royal court. Their private schedule at the Spencer estate features warm family gatherings meant to introduce Archie and Lilibet to their maternal relatives, making sure their bond to the bloodline of Princess Diana stays strong despite living far away in California. This decision is a massive, sharp contrast to the cold, distant royal world in London, showing a deep divide where Prince Harry looks for comfort and real validation from his mother's family, while the crown machinery keeps up its absolute unbroken silence across all of the royal estates. The arrival of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex has sparked massive public debate about what the monarchy even stands for in the modern age. Across the entire United Kingdom, such cold-planned isolation of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle has turned a family feud into a loud public debate over duty heritage and royal responsibility. The sharp visual contrast between working royals doing official duties in London and the complete exclusion of the California branch has totally dominated the major news networks and daily papers, creating a profound national conversation on whether the Crown has acted to preserve its ancient institution or with a cold, unyielding hostility toward its own bloodline. For supporters of the Prince of Wales and the established order, this completely unwavering stance from the palace is seen as a necessary and long overdue move to establish constitutional clarity. The prevailing argument within these circles is that holding a place in the line of succession and enjoying the high prestige of the crown must always remain completely dependent on a visible daily commitment to the British state and its citizens. From this point of view, building a defensive perimeter around Catherine, the Princess of Wales, and refusing to give a royal platform to individuals who actively choose to sell off private family matters are actions of genuine, strong institutional leadership. The public operates on a shared understanding that the actual survival of the British monarchy relies on quiet stability, unwavering dignity, and total loyalty. None of these core values can ever be sacrificed for a fake public relations truce or a highly superficial show of family unity. On the other hand, a massive segment of the population and global observers are watching this unfolding drama with deep, genuine concern, viewing the complete freezing out of the young Sussex children as an incredibly harsh, unnecessary institutional response. Critics argue that young Archie and Lilibet are completely innocent of the deep fractures that have separated their parents from the House of Windsor, yet they are the ones paying the direct emotional price for bitter adult disagreements. The visual of a shrinking line of succession and the clinical cold tone of official palace statements have caused many to ask whether this grand institution is losing its human heart in its desperate struggle to protect its legal structures. Quick street interviews conducted right outside the gates of Buckingham Palace and in major regional cities show a deeply divided British public. Many ordinary citizens are expressing profound sadness that a grandfather, who is also the reigning king, is kept completely separated from his youngest grandchildren during their fleeting stay on British soil. The quiet, tense atmosphere inside the royal residences shows the heavy emotional toll of this deep institutional division. Well-known royal writers note that even though King Charles III remains deeply committed to the strict advice of his constitutional councillors and the defensive plans of Prince William, just seeing the visual images of his distant grandchildren appearing on television screens brings the monarch a deep private sorrow. The king is described by his closest associates as carrying the massive double burden of an institutional leader who must protect the absolute integrity of the crown and a family patriarch who knows that every legal boundary drawn only deepens a permanent, painful wound within his immediate family. Despite this painful internal struggle, the official machinery of the palace has maintained a highly unified and completely unyielding public facade, ensuring that no emotional hesitation ever disrupts the execution of state policy. The true historical weight of this moment lies in the precedent it sets for all future generations of the royal family. By clearly establishing that royal privilege and constitutional recognition cannot exist apart from permanent national service, the ancient institution has effectively rewritten the unwritten rules of royal survival in the 21st century. The upcoming family events of July 2026 are no longer seen as just a brief visit by an estranged prince, but as the final clear crystallization of a permanent, systemic shift. Prince Harry's decision not to answer the crown with open, loud public warfare after finding out the palace doors were completely shut has created a heavy, silent stalemate. The British nation is left to watch a profound and tragic historical irony unfold where the younger prince has successfully freed his children from the rigid, suffocating constraints of palace life, only to discover that the royal institution has learned to function with absolute efficiency and complete finality entirely without them. The complete finality surrounding the upcoming events of July highlights a fundamental historic transformation in how the British state and the royal family manage deep internal division. The completely defensive and unyielding stance maintained by the Prince of Wales, Prince William, clearly shows a deep institutional realization that the future of the constitutional monarchy cannot be built on soft, emotional compromises or temporary public relations deals. By handing out a clinical and highly structured isolation to the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, the future king has clearly illustrated that the boundaries surrounding his immediate family and his core constitutional responsibilities are completely non-negotiable. Prince William has effectively made the choice to prioritise the peace and emotional security of the Princess of Wales, Catherine and the stable upbringing of his children over the old sentimentality of a brotherly bond that was completely shattered by relentless public media warfare. This totally uncompromising posture sends a clear, powerful and unmistakable signal across 2 continents, completely wiping out any lingering expectations that a modern Hollywood-style celebrity status can be used to influence or change the ancient traditions of the British Crown. The total collapse of Prince Harry's direct communication, which was firmly and instantly rejected by Kensington Palace, shows that the heir to the throne has moved far past the stages of negotiation or anger, entering a permanent phase of cold acceptance. Within this new quiet reality, the Crown operates with complete and utter independence from the California-based branch, proving that the historic institution can easily maintain its high national popularity, financial stability, and royal dignity without needing any help or participation from those who chose to walk away from their foundational obligations. For Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, the painful realization that the royal household has developed a highly functional, seamless operational existence entirely in their absence stands as the most profound and permanent consequence of their past choices. The strategic decision to use Althorp House as a private sanctuary during this July visit highlights the massive geographical and emotional borders that now completely separate the family. By retreating to the historic ancestral estate of the late Diana, Princess of Wales, Prince Harry is actively seeking a separate family connection and emotional validation that exists far outside the administrative authority of King Charles and Prince William. While this choice provides a safe and highly private environment for young Archie and Lilibet to connect with their maternal heritage under the direct protection of Earl Charles Spencer, it also highlights the complete, absolute finality of their split from the core royal residences. The young children will experience their father's homeland not through the historic grand pageantry of Buckingham Palace or Windsor Castle, but they found it in the quiet safety of a lonely country estate, completely shielded from the very institution they were born into. This painful dynamic exposes a deep, unhealed family wound that remains wide open right where the bloodline of Princess Diana acts as both a quiet source of personal comfort for the younger brother and a permanent reminder of the deep divisions that continue to rip the House of Windsor apart. In the end, the drama of July 2026 was a clear victory for the institutional logic championed by Prince William. The British royal family has successfully shown the world that its survival and modern relevance are built on relentless public duty, quiet daily dedication, and a complete, unshakable respect for the private trust that keeps the crown stable. Even though Prince Harry is now free to build his own life, shield his family and run massive global charity projects through things like his beloved Invictus Games, he must do so knowing one very harsh reality: the heavy doors of the working monarchy remain locked, tight. The cold, precise execution of the official royal diaries and the total lack of any public engagement during his stay prove that being part of this constitutional fabric requires an absolute permanent commitment. As the Duke and Duchess of Sussex finish up their quick trip and head back home to California, the slimmed-down line of succession and the silent, unyielding fortresses of London stand tall as permanent, reminders of a family and a monarchy that have learned how to live, work and rule completely without them.